Hey guys, welcome back to Fables Stand. This is Kim and this is part 2 of unboxing all my new decks in one go, and I just unboxed Spare Machine cards and Oracle, so check out that video. That was part 1 and it took like 35 minutes, but oh my god. So I'm gonna unbox the expansion packs now, and the expansion packs are a little more exciting because the designs on each card are actually different. This one is like more color coded, but for Quest and Change, for these two, they're actually each card has a different design, and I actually try out different things with these two decks. So yeah, I thought I would when I was creating it, I thought I would add a little bit more personality and flair because they're more thematic and they're just more like themed, if you know what I mean. So yeah, go check out part 1. This is part 2. I'm going to be unboxing the 2 expansion packs, like I said, and then I'm going to be unboxing Sparkly LENORMAND. And let me just start the camera for the desk area. Okay, anyway, and also let me puff up my hoodie. You gotta puff up your hoodie when you're getting down to hustle, if you know what I mean. Come on, fellow introverts, like, am I right? Am I right? Okay, anyway, so first we are going to, which one should we do first? So let's do Quest first, because yeah, I mean, in no particular order. So Quest originally only had like 36 cards, but I decided to, I think I added like a category and I expanded the deck. So that was also one of the stretch goals. I kind of just like put it in there because I knew I was going to do it anyway. So that's why some of you are like, oh, well, you came back with a new, like with all these new stretch goals, but like this one is already unlocked. I was like, yeah, because I just wanted it to happen anyway. So I just snuck it in there and it was already unlocked. So yeah, this is the expansion pack for gamifiers. Oh, so if you love like gamifying, if you love video game language, if you love like really language that's like associated with adventure and epic quest, boss fights and like level up and stuff like that, so this will be the expansion pack to go to. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, so this is also like silky matte lamination. Oh my god, look at this. It just feels so like silky matte, feels like leather. Like it feels like has that leathery feel, and it feels like amazing. And with the stretch goals, we got embossing and we also got some spot UV treatment. So with embossing, you got like, see, look, it's like a little bumped out. Let me bring it back to the camera. It's like a little bumped out. Look at this. So, and when you run your fingers through it, ooh, it just feels so good. Next time I should try to work. Next time I should try experiment with some foils, because I don't know if you know like Playful Heart Tarot by Kitten Chops, or my best creative buddy, business buddy Zara. Her tuck box has like a lot of beautiful foils on it, and I wonder if I will maybe eventually give that a try. And this is like one of my favorite decks like ever. So. Okay, anyway, Spare Machine Quest, oh my god. So yeah, now it has like 44 cards, and it also has a guidebook because I had to put that in the stretch goal. I was like, I'm not gonna just put out this deck. And I just feel like there's just like, if I explained it and I explained the concepts and the themes behind it, people can get more out of it. So there was just no way I was gonna launch it, like, put it out there without a guidebook. And oh my god, I'm always so scared to kind of break this part of the deck. Maybe I'll like go from the bottom, go from behind. Okay, anyway, okay, I'll just do it. So it's like double-sided printing, like, so inside there's designs as well. And look at that guidebook, and look at this gold copper vintage tone matte edging. So I decided to go with gold and silver for change, so it's kind of like a little dual, and gold is just perfect for Quest because that is the color of Quest, like that's the color of maps, and copper, and just like very, very on point. Okay, so I know I'm gonna yammer a lot about like the guidebook because I spent so much time writing it, but this is really like, I really love what I did with this guidebook. So just really quickly, this guidebook walks you through the important concepts and themes of gamification, and really just to kind of help you expand the possibilities of like how you can utilize this deck. So there's a little bit of a story, and a little bit of some like fun activities in there. So of course I can like there's gonna be a panda in there. You just have to read that for yourself. And then there's like a little story, and it tells you what is gamification and also how you can use gamification or the concept of gamification, not just for productivity, but also apply it to your spiritual practice, especially if you're someone who loves the language of adventure and journey and leveling up, etc. Like, it's just really fun to talk about shadow work as a dungeon crawl, or to talk about like problem solving as a boss fight, or your healing as like a trip to a fairy fountain. So if you love metaphors and storytelling, like this deck is gonna be amazing. Like, I had a lot of fun creating this deck, so, and also writing the guidebook. Like, this guidebook was just effortless because this was just really me. It's just like the essence of me, you know? So I have a page that says the creed. Basically, it's like a little invocation, like a little prayer. You can write your name there, and then you can read this whole thing. It's basically kind of just bring power to you with prayer and with words. You know, it's kind of like, you know, how Jon Snow had to swear, like they have to like say their vows or whatever. So this is kind of like vows, but it's not like, it doesn't bind you to anything. This is sort of just like a little like inspo to help you activate your power and stuff. So if you like that kind of thing, that is in there. And then like it talks about the deck. So basically it walks you through the different categories. And it has like a different activity for each category. So basically, if you walk through the guidebook, you can kind of have like this, it's kind of like designed as a journey, like even though it's like really like compact, it's like a journey where you walk through the categories and you kind of explore the different concepts in that category, and you kind of reflect that. You kind of just see how that applies to you as an individual, and really sort of insert yourself as the hero of your own story into this world of gamification. So if you actually did all the exercises from this book, you will actually be completing this journey. You would be exploring a lot of concepts of gamification that are sort of included in this deck. So it'll be really cool. So yeah, like this deck doesn't tell you how to make spreads because that's the main deck, and I assume that if you're getting the expansion pack, you will have the main deck. So yeah, there's some sample spreads here using all the spread prompts and all the cards from this deck, such as just to give you some idea, right? So your heroic destiny and cursed, it's like a shadow work, spread, stage cleared. And oh, I just want to give a shout out to Ashton, my copy editor. I forgot to put her in the credits. I actually didn't even have a credit, but I just want to give a shout out to her. She copy edited all my guidebooks, and I should have included her name, but I will like make sure I print it in the next batch and just list it somewhere because she was such a big help. I copy edited my last guidebook. I mean, it was a big one, like Book of Pandas, and also like the smaller guidebook, but it was just like, I was just so stressed out, and it was just such a blessing to have someone to really help you out with like this final stage of your, you know, just making sure that the book is good and perfect and everything. So special shout out to Ashton. She's on Fiverr, so if you want to find a copy editor who's just like amazing, you can go find her. I really love working with her. She was awesome. Okay, so here again we have some spread prompts and ideas. So if you're like, I don't know what to create, I don't know what to do, you can just come to this page and you can create some spreads based on the spread prompts here. So that is the guidebook, and then maybe I'll leave the I'll just leave it like on the side of the camera. Okay, so let's take a look at the deck itself. I'm so excited. Ooh, I might even have a part 3 because like otherwise the video is gonna be so long. Okay, so that is the back. So it's cohesive and consistent with the spread machine back because they are part of the same series, but it just has like a different color scheme. So I know some of you requested like or wanted like uniform backs throughout the decks, but I thought it just really didn't, like the colors didn't really go together, but the designs are going to be the same. And yeah, so and then plus like you won't be able to tell like what is what, but you can still shuffle together. Like I don't know if you want to shuffle everything together, like the expansion packs, both of them and the deck. That's like 160 something cards. I don't know if that's shuffleable. So, but if you want to attempt that, feel free. So like the other decks, this is one of the stretch goals. We unlocked a blank card, so you can write whatever you want on this. You can even put artwork on it, put some glitter on it, whatever. So this is just a customizable blank card. And we also got a quick start guide, so it has all the categories in here, and then it has like a quick start activity to jumpstart your journey with this deck. I'm really excited because this whole aesthetic with this deck is kind of like old vintage like quest book, like a scroll type of vibe. So you will see like the color schemes are very much like dark orange, copper, brown, yellow, purple, and it's just like an RPG sort of fantasy theme. And starting with a character category, we have the hero. Obviously, it's kind of like the seeker. I'm running out of breath because I'm so excited. So I also did this with Procreate, and I know some of you are gonna ask. So I used like kind of like royalty-free, really old book, like images from really old books. So like vintage illustrations such as this, and I will kind of fade it out. I will sort of re-render the lines because they're all line art, and I would kind of change the color to match the background. I will put like a paper filter over it, and then I will sort of use watercolor to paint the rest of the colors and add some sparkle. So that's kind of like the generic process for all these cards. Oh my god, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I'm like, it's just, I can't even describe. Okay, like I'm just super excited. Oh my god. I wish this is a more flattering angle, but whatever. Let's just focus on the cards, okay? So we got hero, part of the character category. So this, everything has to do with the hero, your abilities, and we have a sidekick. So sidekick could be like a literal familiar, perhaps, if you have a cat or dog or like another little creature in your house, or it could be like a figurative sidekick. You know, your sidekick is maybe your Fitbit or something like that. So, ooh, my camera is almost running out of batteries. Maybe I should switch it right now in case it dies. Okay, be right back. All right, I am back. I just like switch out the battery. Okay, so moving on, we got psychic. So I already talked about it, and we have lore. So same as the main deck, it has like a little blurb that has like guiding questions or like just explain what a category is. I think like there's some variations when we get to the change deck, but otherwise it's mostly like guiding questions to really kind of like, it's not meant to kind of just like deadlock the spread position into those questions. It's sort of just guiding questions, right? Like I said, it's meant to be like a springboard for your ideas and your interpretation, so you can look at a question and be like, I'm drawn to this question today, or it reminds me of this other thing, or helps me explore this other thing. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to confine yourself to the descriptions on the card. They're there to kind of be just ideas and brainstorming and stuff like that. So we have lore, so that's kind of like your backstory, your narrative, you know. So kind of like if you're doing shadow working and you're like, what are some of the memories that are kind of like, that are sort of informing this trigger, right? And you can just like use this lore card, you know. It's like a fun way to explore your own story. And then of course we have strength and weakness. We have ultimate move. I really love that card. Like literally, like it's just ultimate move. Ultimate move that shit. Just start a hashtag. Okay, we got destiny. This is one of my favorite designs that I ever came up with. I really love the, you know, like the lantern, the Aladdin's lamp, the genius lamp, because it's such a moment of destiny for Aladdin, like in the story, right? So then we got mana potion, health potion. Oh, so we are on to the next category, which is power up. So these are like little items or concepts or like statuses that will help you. Actually, I have a category called statuses. So these are kind of like power buffs, right? We got mana potion to increase your magic, your intuition, your creativity. We got health potion. What do you need to heal, recharge, and replenish your health? So this health could apply to your physical health, emotional health, mental health, all that jazz. So anything that has to do with health, like the red bars, you know, like the hearts on your screen, on your character screen. We got invincibility. So this is kind of like Mario's like star effect. Like you can just like, you know, like it's like a moment of courage where you feel like undefeated, invincible. You can just charge through life with like momentum and stuff. That's why it's like a rhino. A speed buff. So increase your productivity, efficiency, and pace. Extra life. I really love that, because if you're a workaholic and perfectionist like me, like getting an extra life card is just so big, because you forget that you like to be gentle with yourself and you can be forgiving, and that there's 1,000 second chances. Like there's no such thing as like the end, unless you're dead. But you know, if you're still alive, then you can just, you have 1,000 second chances, as Lisa Nicole said. And that is my mother causing a lot of noise. 哎，妈妈，小声一点啦。Let me just close the door. 小声一点啦。Okay, I closed the door. And here we are, back on track. We got Stealth Mode, Power Buff, Celestial Blessing, North Star. I actually use this, this is like in the Creative Commons. I actually use this like royalty-free image for one of the readings that I used to do when I still offer online readings. Okay, so that's the Power Up category. Next we have the Equipment category. So instead of like something that's related to your power, these are kind of physical items that could kind of better prepare you for your journey as the protagonist of your story. So we got armor, weapon, right? Best offensive gear. How can you advance and progress vigorously? We have upgrades, right? So you can combine these cards and be like, okay, so what is my weapon? And let's say your weapon is literally Ace of Swords. It's your wit and your intelligence, right? On off screen. And then you can like pull this, add this card, upgrade. So how can you upgrade your weapon? And then you can even go to the power up category. Where's that power buff? Where's the power buff? And then, where's the power buff? Power buff, I need the power buff. Where's the power buff? Where's the power buff? I thought I had a power buff. What the fuck? Okay, maybe I don't. Weird. Okay, anyway, so let's, wait, maybe it's here. Ah, there we go. Scared me for a second. I was like, where's the card? I thought I had a card in there. Okay, so let's say you could choose a weapon to tackle a problem, and then you can choose to upgrade it, you know, just really garner some power up your, you know, just up your being, up your existence, you know, and then just like buff it up even more. So this is like a power trio. So you can combine the cards like that. And then we have equipment, which is kind of like, you know, more physical sort of like things that can help you with your journey. We got talisman. I think like I put a few down there. Yeah, upgrades, right? So weapons. Talisman, so how can you increase your synchronicity? So this could be like, doesn't have to be an actual physical item in your life. It's just like a concept, right? Like what is your talisman? Maybe your talisman is your self-care routine. Maybe your weapon is your, like I said, intelligence and wit. So it's like representative of like the qualities within you or the energies within you, or it could be a literal thing. Like I'm talking so fast because I'm excited. Whew. Okay, compass, map, and mission log. So these are the things that kind of like metaphors and motifs for your journey, whatever journey you're embarking on. So that's the equipment category. Oh my god. Okay, this is like stats. Okay, so statuses are kind of like power downs. So you know, we have power ups, like we have power buffs and speed buffs, and I'm just grabbing some tissues because my nose is runny. Now we have some speed buffs and like, ooh, oh, I just moved the camera again. Please do not collapse again. Yeah, anyway, statuses are kind of powered down. So like, you know, moments of disempowerment or times when we're triggered, when we are not our best selves. So that's when like power downs or statuses can happen. So we have burned. So this is when your like emotions are inflamed, when you're just burning with anger, you know? So that's why. This card was really funny because I could not find a suitable vintage image, like a royalty-free image, and I searched far and wide, and then I found this angry candle head, and I was like, perfect. We got poison. This is one of my favorite cards. I just really love the aesthetic and the centipede. Like centipede has always been like a symbol and the motif for poisons in the heart. Like anything that is causing you to feel unloved and causing you to feel resentment. I feel like the centipede is just such a powerful symbol for resentment, the resentment and bitterness that we feel in our hearts. So we have poisoned, right? How are you being affected by toxic behaviors and limiting beliefs right now? So it's kind of like, you know, like when you think about like curses, centipede is pretty like, I don't know, you just see that a lot because it's a really poisonous insect. Yeah, so that's why it's unpoisoned. And we have paralyzed and cursed. So curses are a great metaphor for like deep-seated beliefs that are really holding you back, that are really stripping you of your power, because that's what a curse does. Like, it places a real, like a very sort of potent limitation on your life and on the way you live life and on the way you choose to create life. So working through our curses, you know, working through like the deep-seated beliefs that are really hindering us, that preventing us from living our best lives, is just so important, right? And we got blindness, so your blind spots, or if you're like dissociating, you're like, you know, like refusing to see reality. So this is a good position to use. And then we have weakened. So what's draining your energy, what's making you feel insecure and disempowered. Like, I really love this category. This is one of my favorite categories to create. I know like I'm a super fluffy and sparkly like person. I literally like, before I filmed this unboxing video, I wanted to kind of hype up my energy a little more, and I listened to like Sailor Moon's like transformation track. I was like, you know, I'm like very much like magical girl vibe, but I also have like this love for darkness as well. So this category was really fun to create. Okay, so the last but not least category, we have embark. So this category has all the like vocabulary and motifs for your quest and your journey. So we see things like the fog of war. I really love fog of war as a metaphor for life, right? It's like unfamiliar terrain. You know, when you're playing like these strategy or conquest type games like Empire Earth or like those empire-y, like whatever, like Warcraft, you have the fog of war. It's like a previously unexplored area of the map that you don't know what's there. And that's kind of like life, you know, we have a lot of fog of war in life. It's kind of like it's outside of your comfort zone. It's outside of your visibility. It requires like strategy and faith and courage to really march in there and to know what's there, right? So this is one of my favorite cards that I came up with. And then we have the main mission. So these cards are good for productivity and planning, right? If you're planning, like if you're using this for journaling or using it in conjunction with your planner, you know, sometimes we draw weekly readings or monthly readings and stuff. You can really use this to channel your intention and really just focus on what you want to achieve for the time, for that duration of time or whatever. So main mission, we have quest. So it's kind of like a long-term goal or like a big project, anything that you're wanting to manifest. And we have experience points, EXP needed. And we have side quest, save game, we have checkpoint. Oh my god, these games are so good. I love them. And we got dungeon. This card took so much work, but I really love the way it came out. Because originally there was some more stuff here, but it was just blocking all the text, so I kind of have to minimize it. But this came out really well. Look at that dungeon monster. We got battle. We have grind, boss fight, EXP gained, and then treasure, level up, of course, and then we have high scores. I think this is like the only pink card, but anyway. Oh my god, I'm so happy with the stack. So again, this is like the copper matte edge or gold, but I like to call it copper just because it's closer to a copper tone. I'm so excited. So that's quest, and I really have fun creating this deck, and I really hope you enjoy too. Look at that double-sided printing. I personally just like don't want to see like naked cardboard on any of the boxes. It's just like, I know we're really spoiled by the indie deck creators to have really gorgeous boxes. Like there's like a couple of boxes where it's just naked cardboard on the inside, and I was like, oh my god, did I just pay $50 for this? Okay, it doesn't cost a lot to do double-sided printing. It's just like, please, just like cover up the cardboard. It really ruins, like even the mass market decks don't have cardboard, I don't think. So this is a spoiled deck brat rant, like, so just ignore. Like, you know, honestly, the most important part is still the deck itself. Like, but I'm also just like a sucker for gorgeous boxes, right? I just like, it really adds to the experience, you know? Okay, so next we have Change. I'm also really excited for this one because this is all watercolor, and it's all original watercolor design, and this deck was prompted by all of the social changes and activism that was happening last year, because I just feel like they were just like, you know, like I was just having these deep reflections within myself. I was like, you know what, I'm so tired and sick of these ideological wars, but because at times it just seems like people just want to scream to hear their own voice. They don't really care about listening. They don't really even care about social change. They just want to scream and feel, you know, like virtual signaling and whatnot. So, and there's also just a lot of toxicity and dialogue surrounding social change because it's political, and political has to do with power. It just like sometimes becomes really hard to really navigate that and find your own voice and find what's important for you, and also just sort of detach yourself from the toxic side of those ideological wars and look at what's important, like the truth and the things that actually need to change in society underneath all of that, all the screaming. And I understand activism sort of demands to be heard, and I think I understand that, but the energy is just very different when you demand to be heard because it is true versus when you demand to be heard because you want to scream and you want to hear your own voice. There's just two very different vibes, and I just like have been subjected to a lot of screaming because I'm kind of a centrist, and you know, when you're a centrist, like you just can't please anybody. Like when you have like sort of like a middle perspective on everything, everyone's just like fucking take a side. Okay, so I created this deck partially to help myself and also to help other people, to kind of just like give people permission to explore their own truth, to look at all these ideologies and all these different like buzzwords and keywords being thrown around on social media especially, and all this anger and all the cancel culture and everything, just like all the drama online, right? Just really, this deck is to help you kind of navigate all of that and to connect with your own voice and to connect with yourself as an agent of change, and to really help you focus on what you want to change in the world. Because I think every like sort of activist wants you to kind of, everyone, you know, it's like every activist is like, you're not doing enough. You need to be doing more. And I agree with that sentiment, but at times I also feel like that could get a little toxic because there's just so many causes that I could care about as a person. There are things that are important for me that may not be important for you, and I understand and completely support your cause, but that doesn't mean I feel called to do it. I understand it's important. Like I can't do everything, and that's why we have different lanes and we have different like roles, and we're fighting for we're all fighting for change, okay? Like that's what I'm saying. So this is what this deck is for. I really want to create something that helps people balance and find their own truth and not be afraid to speak up, and also like be more compassionate when it comes to different opinions and perspectives and things like that, because with the internet there's just like a lot of drama surrounding that. It's just like, oh my god, you can't even say what you mean. Like it's just like really hard to sometimes like speak your truth, because like, you know, some people are just gonna be like, they just want to scream anyway, so it's like sometimes it's not even your fault. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point of this deck is to help you be agents of change. Agents of change is to inspire change from an authentic place and from a compassionate place, and to also just circumnavigate all the difficult ideas out there, and to kind of just stay grounded and stuff. So that's the main purpose of this deck. So I'm really proud of it. This deck was really like interesting. Like the guidebook was really interesting to write, because in here you are going to read a little bit about my story, and also kind of like why I didn't want to talk about activism or social change at all with people, because it was just like sometimes people get so argumentative and heated, and as like an empathic introvert who struggles with boundaries and who struggles with this kind of thing, I just found it extremely difficult. And I just like, you know, I was afraid of rejection and all that jazz, and you know, like, so you're gonna read a little bit more about like my story and how I sort of explore the dialogue. I studied, you know, like I study about like feminism and race and social justice and gender and all that jazz back in university, because it was very interesting to me, and then just my whole journey with it. So you're gonna read a little bit about that and kind of sort of how I came back, because for the longest time I just kind of avoided conversations like that. I didn't want to talk about social change. Don't talk to me about race or gender. Like I just don't want to be screamed at anymore. But you're gonna see how I sort of changed my mind, and just how I sort of found my way back, and just kind of how I learned and I leveled up and dealt with my own shadows and everything. So you're gonna see like a lot. Like this book really is sort of like it obviously it walks you through all the categories, and it also just, it's like a journey where you dive into your own story, your own narrative of your identity, and finding acceptance within yourself, and finding your lane of change and who you are as an agent of change, and also shadow working the things that are triggering you, like really shadow working on triggers. Because when we are talking about social change, like the things we want to change are the things that we needed to heal from, right? The things that really outrage us, the things that we really resent in society, is like because we have been through that trauma. It's because we've been through that indignity, that inequality, or just you feel called to change that particular thing in your culture or your society because that was something you needed to heal from. And this book really is about tapping into that part of you, you know, like you are like a portal of light, right? You are this particular sort of channel for the universe to deliver this medicine to society, because you went through all the shit. You went through that shit, and that's why you're showing up as an agent of change. So this book, it really kind of, I know it's really small, like it's just like 50 something pages or maybe 60 something pages, but it's really like a really brief journey on how you can use this deck to go on that journey, to look at your wounds and your trauma and do shadow work, and also find your light and find who you are as an agent of change. And I'm really proud of what I've written. It was like a lot of words, but oh my god. Okay. So yeah, you know, mapping out change, and basically just everything that I describe, and they'll just outline all the things that you can do to embark on this journey, and the cards you can use. And also I'm going to be sharing my story, just tidbits of it to kind of just be vulnerable, and then just like show you how you can use this deck to kind of help you like find your voice and stuff. And there's some exercises and some poetry just throughout. For mood. Yeah, like that's kind of like, I'm really proud of the guidebooks I wrote. Like, oh, when I wrote the guidebooks, I was like, why did I include extra guidebooks in the fucking stretch goals? Why did I fucking create more work for myself? I was like, this time, this Kickstarter campaign, I'm not gonna create more work for myself, because I did that in We Have the Panda Tarot, and that was like a lot of work, and I did that again with Spread Machine, but it was all worth it. Even though I was just like so painful with all the delays, I was just like, oh my god, I promise, like I need to keep my promise. I really didn't want to delay, but I'm so glad I took the time to create this for all of you, because like, so like, yeah, like it's just really like, if you have this deck, if you bought the deck, please read through the guidebook. I put so much heart and soul into it. I really hope that this will help you with your journey, and not just using this deck, but also kind of just adding to your repertoire, and just adding to your own journey of personal development and stuff like that. So yeah, so I really do hope that you go through the guidebooks, because they're really precious. Like, they're not just a generic guidebook telling you like, oh, this category is what. I really put a lot of story and a lot of like soul into it, so please read through it. Yeah, and as always, there's some sample spreads using the prompts up from the deck. And then of course you can also just use it for like oracle reading or something. And then there's some spread prompts if you like are like, you know, like stuck and you don't have any ideas. You can kind of just take a look at this section and see what you can create. Okay, let's take a look at the deck, because that is the part that I care about most. Oh my god, we're not even done. We still have Sparkly LENORMAND. I think that'll be part 3. Okay, so like the other decks, oh, first of all, look at the silver edging though. Look at the silver. Like, oh my god. I know like we have a lot of gold foil edges and stuff, like just gold, but this silver is, I think like the only other deck that has silver is Austere Tarot. I'm not sure, but oh my god, look at the silver. This is just, phew, gorgeous. Okay, so blank card for customization, and then a quick start guide. So something that's different about this deck has like, the category has a little bit more like cleverness to it. So for the shadow work category, which is the first one, this is also one of my favorite designs that I did. It has like a full heart symbol and a clear heart symbol. So the full heart symbol will ask a question, sort of poses a question to prompt you to own your personal triggers and shadows. So this is sort of like owning, taking responsibility for your actions, for your triggers, for who you are and what you're thinking and feeling. So always starting with that. And then the empty heart symbol, the clear heart symbol, ask a question to help you heal and clear your heart space from the shadows that you have experienced from others. So this is like, it's a clear heart because you're clearing out space, right? Because sometimes like when you're triggered or when you experience shadow, sometimes it's not your shadow, it's like someone lashing out on you, right? Someone else is triggered, and that can traumatize us. That can really you know, that could really hurt us and upset us. So, you know, like there are many times when it's like, it's us, like we need to take responsibility for our own reality and for our own actions. But there are also times when it's like important to acknowledge that it wasn't your fault, it was someone else did this, and you were simply a recipient of their trigger and their shadow, and that you were projected on, right? So it's important to clear your heart space from that so you can really operate and function and fully just as yourself. So that's why there's this dual sort of, I decided to include both to make sure that we're considering both perspectives. Like what can you take responsibility for in yourself, and also what do you need to acknowledge that is basically done to you? Because I know like we have a lot of talk about like not being a victim and taking responsibility and ownership in spiritual conversations and stuff, but at the same time it's like sometimes we forget that, you know, like sometimes we just need to call that person a bitch because that's what that person is acting, right? It's like we need to love them from afar with compassion and whatnot, but it's like what they do was toxic. Like we need to say that. I think like sometimes we spiritual bypass and we don't want to sound like we're like bitching or we're like a victim, but sometimes we forget that, you know what they did was bitchy. Like it was unacceptable. Sometimes we need to name their behavior so that we can continue to heal. So yeah, so that's the shadow work category. Each card has like a full heart and then like a clear heart. I know this is like unboxing, but I'm just like explaining my own deck because it's my deck. So anyway, the colors came out so good. Like, look at this. Like, oh my god. So the color scheme for this deck is also kind of like a galaxy themed. It's very purple, very blue, very green. There's like a couple of like different designs in there, but oh my god, like this came out so good. Bypassing. Okay, so that's the first card. So this is the shadow work category. Intolerance, and we have rage and revenge, alienation. I'm really happy with how this color came out. I think it's like a little darker than my design. Oppression, yeah, it was like all black, so yeah, I think it was like there's like a few more layers there, but I think when it's black it's just a little harder. That's one of the reasons why I changed a lot of the shadow work designs in Spirit Machine, like the main deck as well, just because like when it's black it's really hard to distinguish like the different textures in there. Silence, so it's like this dark purple cloud, right? Wait, prejudice. So the designs kind of interact with the word. You know, it kind of tries to capture the vibe. Exploitation, right? All important things to examine. Polarization, so extreme attitudes or thinking. Got engage and listen, very important. Okay, so this is call to action. So call to action is like obviously is the biggest category because this deck is obviously called change, and this basically calls you to change, right? It calls you to kind of like act to act and to kind of like to initiate change. So these are kind of action words that I've chosen to capture the important sort of you know, when you're trying to be an agent of change, when you're trying to create change, what are some of the things that are, you know, like that are sort of that are part of this sort of calling, I guess. So we have engage, become involved, participate, to act. So this is kind of like just an extension of the word. It's not like necessarily a dictionary entry, but it's sort of like I put more action words in there so that you could find what resonates and find what centers you and really just focus on the moment. So I know it kind of looks like a dictionary entry, but it's sort of like some of them are very poetically written, you know, to kind of just carry out the mood and the sentiment, right? So we have validate, amplify, hold space. We have empathize, reciprocate, connect, champion. This is my favorite word. if you go through the activities in the guidebook, you will know that I think I got you to pick like a word that is sort of like your particular sort of channel of change. Like it really represents who you are as a person, and the word I picked was champion because it's just the perfect word for me. To advocate, to support, to defend, to empower, to stand by something with commitment and conviction, right? You want to be the champion of your own story and your own ideals and truth, but you want to champion others. So it's a win-win, so it's mutual empowerment. We got harmonize, scrutinize, to examine something closely, right? When you're really diving into the concepts, like the different intersectionalities of society, like it really takes a lot of scrutiny to kind of figure out where you stand and what you think, and to really understand the perspective, etc. So these words are like really good for unpacking concepts and also just figuring out where you stand. I'm like losing my voice because I've been talking so much and I'm so excited. Okay, anyway, we got dismantle, very powerful word, to tear down, you know, to fragment and overthrow, to rebel. Speaking of rebel, this is also one of my favorite cards. To rebel against conformity, right, and outdated systems, you know, which is like what a lot of us are fighting against, to rise against opposition. And then we have reform, we got reclaim, defend, initiate. It's one of my favorite designs. Look at this color. Speak, inspire, and then we have impact. Right, it's like an epic symbol. Boom, look at the background. Ooh, to influence, to start a chain reaction or a movement, to manifest change. Okay, so last but not least, we got the flux category. So these are kind of like big overarching concepts that can change and shift depending on your identity or depending on where you're standing in society. So I found this category very interesting, and I call it flux. It's because these are concepts that could change and shift. You know, it's in flux, right? And it also changes because of like the things as a culture, the things we're developing and growing, and the things we're examining. So these are concepts, like really big overarching concepts that could really change with the times, or with the culture, or with movement, and or with who you are, with, you know, the where you stand, etc. So yeah, so first we have privilege, starting right with that. And then here we kind of have like, I decided to put in like a lot of like keywords. So this could sort of like, and they're not just like extensions of, like, they're not just sort of like, you know, say for example for call to action we have impact, and then we have like just kind of words that continue the momentum of the title word. This one is kind of like, it helps you explore the black and white within that concept. It really helps to explore the spectrum that's within this concept. So for privilege, for example, so we have advantages, and we also have limitations. Sheltered, resources, entitlement and debt, freedom, superiority, inferiority, and shared reality. So I put these key concepts and keywords there to really just like, to kind of just like fire up like the different kind of things that you can tap into when you're considering privilege, when you're considering your own privilege or someone else's privilege, and to kind of just give like a more holistic perspective on the word privilege, because I know the word privilege is especially inflammatory nowadays, especially if you're not a person of color. So I wanted to kind of really explore, because nothing is one-sided, right? It's like, I really hate it when someone said, this is absolute, this is right, this is the only reality you submit to. I really don't like that. Anything that is a monolith, like I wrote it in the guidebook, you know, as a disclaimer, like very, very beginning. Where is it? I had a really clever line in here, somewhere. Something about the monolith. Okay, I'm severely allergic to any type of monolithic presentation of the world and any discussions that are rooted in the right, rigid, black and white worldview, or any sort of polarization. Give me maddening highs. You can rest assured that you'll find none of those spiritual irritants here. So this deck really is not about like, this is the right way to think. It's more about like, what is your way of thinking, and why are other voices and other perspectives equally important, and what do you need to acknowledge? That's what this deck is for. Ah! I'm getting a little teary-eyed. Please, just like, I just want to bring more truth and more compassion and more discussion with the stack instead of like just pointing fingers and screaming and like, this is the way that you need to think. If you're not thinking this way, then fuck you. You are a bigot. Really hate that, all that talk, you know, it's just like, eh. Okay, anyway, so yeah, I have like different kind of concepts that's sort of like under this big concept, big overarching concept that can be like very controversial or contested to kind of just help you explore different sides of it. So that's what these words are for. So they're not necessarily just continuing on the same momentum, but they are sort of like kind of just expanding, like more kind of expanding on a concept. So, okay. And then we got power, competence, subjugation. So it's kind of like we have power in its light aspect, which is competence and being, you know, like respectability and leadership, right? And then we also have the shadow aspect. So sometimes there's a bit of dichotomy in there, but not always. So, but just so you know, like that's what the keywords are there for. Competence, subjugation, leadership, corruption, tyranny, responsibility, negligence, authority, influence, and confidence. And then we have justice, consequence, vengeance, and I put vengeance there because a lot of vengeance is done in the name of justice nowadays, and I'm just really not down with that. I don't care how right you sound. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You know, like it's just sometimes like everything sounds really righteous, but it's really like an act of vengeance. So it's kind of like, you know, we need to consider all of that. Law, order, protection, immunity, legitimacy, falsehood, truth, fairness, punishment, karma. So it's kind of like bouncing back and forth and just like exploring whatever concepts are surrounding justice. And then we have norm, stereotype, consciousness. So this is kind of like the collective culture and the collective consciousness and unconsciousness, unconscious. Diversity, acceptance, we have bias, freedom, looks like wings, legacy. I think I should have used like white text. Okay, I can change that next time. But you can still read it though. Yeah, I was trying to make sure that texts are easy to read, but on the screen the white was fading a bit. But I think like once printed, it's actually okay. So I can change that for next time. Education. And we have progress. So I'm really proud of the stack. Like when I want to create the stack, immediately I came up with all the spread positions and all the cards that are going to be in the deck, and it was done in 5 minutes. I just knew what the stack was going to be, and of course there was like a lot of extra work that went into it, just like fleshing it out and like expressing and exploring and expanding on the concepts more. But right away I knew what this deck was going to be because it was what I needed, and I feel like I could really inspire a lot of people by creating something like this. So that is the expansion pack for Spirit Machine Change, and I'm really excited to see how people utilize these two decks. And 3 decks. They're just all so unique, and they each have like a really strong theme, and you can combine them, right? You can pull a deck, you can pull a card from Quest, let's say boss fight, and you can pull something from Spirit Machine. And you can also use this in conjunction with your tarot readings, right? I said that you can use this as like clarifiers, right? Let's say you pull Hangman and you don't know what it's talking about. You can pull from a Spirit Machine deck and it say self-care comes out. Then you can combine that and have a clearer message. So I really created this to have like, I really created these 3 decks to like, they can be their own thing, but they're just also great sidekicks to some of the other decks that you may have. And you can also just have a great party and use them all together. And I'm really proud of all of just how they turn out, because I was really nervous and I was just so burnt out when I finished, but everything is worth it. And if you're creating something, if you're troubleshooting, especially in the production stage, sometimes like you have like color issues, printing issues, everything is just like really hard. It's all worth it. Remember why you started. Looking at these now, I just remember why I started creating them, and everything is so worth it. Everything is worth it in the end, even though the middle sort of creative process, it could be like really hard. So it is just so worth it. I am so happy with how these turn out, and I hope you'll be happy with them too. I'm arranging shipping with my printer now. They should be here in like 3 weeks. And it's like go time. So thank you so much for waiting. I know like I went through a lot with this project, and I kept announcing that there's going to be delays, which killed me on the inside, but here we are, and I'm going to be shipping soon, and I'm really hoping that you will like it, and thank you so much for supporting and backing this project. I'm really happy with how these turned out, and I can like create so many resources. I was like, when I was creating resources for this, I was like, oh my god, I'm so done. But now that this is here, like I'm just like reignited. My passion has returned, you know. So I'm so glad with how these turned out, and we have one more deck to unbox. Oh my god. Okay, so this one doesn't have a guidebook, so I'll split this and this video now, and I'm gonna do this in part 3 because this video is just getting too long. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and if you want to see the unboxing for Sparkly LENORMAND, make sure you go to part 3. Ooh, there's that sniper red dot. Okay, that's just my camera, the recording light. So yeah, and if you want to check out the unboxing for Spare Machine and look at the cards inside, it's in part 1, so make sure you check out that video too. And oh, it just feels so good. This silky mat, oh my god. Like, this is just matte. Like, matte is awesome enough already, but silky mat just has the extra treatment, right? Okay, anyway, so alright, that's it for now, and go check out part 3 of my grand unboxing, and I'll see you there. Bye!